It is the end of an era. WWE announced this week it will be moving its headquarters in 2021 to a different location in Stamford, Connecticut, and they will likely be selling Titan Towers, which they bought way back in 1985, the year of the very first WrestleMania. They've called that building home ever since. They have shot a lot of angles and a lot of television sequences there. The opening for Raw back in 1995, they filmed this really elaborate sequence at night where they had fans and they had a ring and they did some matches on the roof. And I remember Shawn Michaels dancing around next to the WWF logo. They shot that whole sequence on the roof of Titan Tower. Their 1999 Super Bowl commercial, they shot that inside Titan Tower as well. They've shot a few other angles, including the time Stone Cold became CEO and Brock Lesnar destroyed Triple H's, quote-unquote office and took a sledgehammer to it. And they've done a whole bunch of skits from their corporate offices. Vince's office is wild. We've seen the inside of it a few times. He's done some interviews, and even in Beyond the Mat all those years ago. Although I don't remember if the dinosaur head was on the wall. I don't think it was back then because it was gifted to him by Triple H. This guy has a T-Rex skull on his wall, in the wall of his office. Like I said, it was a gift from his son-in-law. An actual T-Rex, a fossilized skull. I assume that will be moving as well. I don't think they will leave that behind. But many a time, anybody who lives in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, many times I'm sure you've driven down I-95, and I want to say it's by like exit 9 or something, and you see the giant WWE logo or flag or whatever is up there now on top of the building. It's very visible from the highway there. And the main reason for the move is they're bringing together their corporate offices and their production studios. Right now, they're not housed at the same address. They're housed in separate locations. And now they're all going to be together in one location. They're leasing the new office for an initial term of almost 17 years, which includes a free rent period of 18 months with five-year renewal options thereafter. The new space is over 415,000 square feet, 2 buildings that are attached. And how about this? This is what I kind of laughed at when I read this. As far as rent. After that 18-month rent-free period is over, the company will be obligated to pay base rent over the remainder of the initial term in the amount of more than $19 million a year initially, and then increasing to almost $21 million a year on the 6th anniversary of that rent commencement date, and over $22 million per year on the 11th anniversary of the rent commencement date. And here I thought my rent was high, here in Brooklyn. Didn't take long for a few people online to start tweeting that, they should keep the Titan Towers location. Let's just pay all the money to rent this other building out, and we'll convert it into a WWE museum or a physical WWE Hall of Fame. As if people are just dying to fly to Stamford, Connecticut for a quick vacation to see the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, look, they did put the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, which I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame twice in my life, once as a kid, and then again a couple of summers ago. And outside of the Hall of Fame itself, all due respect to the fine folks in Cooperstown, I was bored to tears. Maybe I just didn't know all the right places to visit. Look, it's beautiful. If you like seeing kind of these antique locations and lots of grass and all that kind of crap. But look, there's not a whole lot to do. That's the point. There's not a whole lot to do there. If you're a huge baseball fan, then you're probably in baseball heaven. You get to go and see all the plaques, and look, it's a great Hall of Fame. It really is. The way they have it set up, and they go through the different periods in history and the periods, segregation and everything else, is really well done. And, little trivia fact, if you've never been to the Hall of Fame, they have a little TV, and it is around the clock playing the old Abbott and Costello Who's on First routine. I'm a big Abbott and Costello fan, so and I've seen that routine a million times, but when I went to the Hall of Fame the last time, I just sat down and I watched it for like 20 minutes. And they just have it playing, and people just sit down and they watch it as you're walking through all the exhibits. So It's a cool Hall of Fame and all, but as far as the location, not exactly the most exciting place, in the world. If it weren't for the Baseball Hall of Fame, there would be absolutely no reason to visit Cooperstown. Yeah, I've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. Toronto's a popular city to visit. I'm just thinking of things in terms of what would make sense for WWE. I'm not trying to shit on all these cities. I'm just saying, if I were WWE and I wanted to really bring people in and maximize the experience or maximize the potential for as many people as possible to want to travel, drive, fly in from wherever they're coming from, I would not want to put it in a small town or a small city that is not considered to be a travel destination. It just, to me, doesn't make sense. I was saying the Hockey Hall of Fame, I've been there too. That's in Toronto, and Toronto is a popular city to visit. If you're going to have a WWE Hall of Fame, and I hope they do, certainly if they still had that Times Square location, that would be a sensible place for it. But I think it would make sense to do it from a vacation spot like in Orlando. There were rumors a few years ago they were considering a spot at maybe Universal Studios or something, working with the park. Maybe they would even subsidize part of the project. And I mean, to me, that would be a great location. Plus, it's not far from the Performance Center. They have a base of operations down there. They can very easily have this revolving schedule of talent from the Performance Center and NXT, and maybe even some big name stars when they're down there training or whatever at the PC that they can bring in for autograph signings and appearances, on certain weekends as a way to lure even more people in to come visit the Hall of Fame. And they could also, look, it goes both ways. You have people coming down to the Orlando area. You can start offering more tours of the Performance Center. I think they do a little bit of that now, but not a lot. People are in town, hey, come on down, pay for a tour. We'll give you a whole tour of the whole facility. Right? Plus, you've got Disney World and Universal and all these other spots that people can go vacation to if they want to make a week or a weekend out of it. Nobody wants to go to Stamford, Connecticut. That probably includes most of the people who work in Stamford, Connecticut. The closest thing we've ever had to a physical WWE Hall of Fame outside of these fan access events that pop up, each year at the WrestleMania host city was here in New York. And I'm not even talking about WWF New York. There was a period a number of years ago. This actually might have been right when they signed with NBC Universal. Inside the NBC store in Rockefeller Center, upstairs, they had an entire floor dedicated to WWE memorabilia. I took pictures of it at the time and tweeted it out. I visited there a couple of different times, and they had a lot of really cool little artifacts and items that were in these glass displays. They had, the blood-soaked contract that was signed for WrestleMania 19 between Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan, stuff like that. And that was up maybe for a few weeks. It was only temporary, and then they took it down. But even just something as small as that was really cool. Now imagine all of the things, all the items that WWE has in its warehouse. Triple H, I know, has actively over the last several years been working to collect various pieces of memorabilia, old title belts, robes. He's collected from all these legends that he's worked with, Bruno Sammartino and Ric Flair, and probably The Warrior, all these people he negotiated with personally to patch things up with the company, bring them in for the Hall of Fame. He's been collecting all sorts of cool items. It deserves a place publicly to be put on display. And hopefully that'll happen one of these days, and hopefully it's in a nice warm destination that everybody can fly out to and can make a vacation out of.